Hello,
We're here.
everybody. We are here. Hello, and welcome to the ratings here on the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. Proudly brought to you by Horizon Finance Group. Guys, girls, ladies and gents, everybody. We are here after round 13. Less than 24 hours ago, we beat the Bombers by 8 points in, unconvincing fashion at the MCG, and we've got a pretty jam-packed night ahead of us. Pommy, I don't know how you got here, but you got here. Well done. How are you?
Tired, frustrated, grumpy, the usual things you'd expect a 40-year-old man to say. But no, I'm glad to be here. It's that warm bath at the end of this is sounding very appealing to get into. Time will tell whether that will include a toaster.
I'd like to think after the rating show we do feel better, regardless of what happened. But I also feel like we're talking about a loss. There's just this anger in the air.
There is. There's a huge anger in the air, isn't there? I can't overstate from a sports psychology perspective. Them players, a lot of them have lived in an era of if you lose with this form against Essendon after a bye, everything you've worked so hard for is cut up and we sack a coach. So there has to be an element in them players' minds that we've been here before. We've been here before. And I can't fathom, my brain won't allow me to imagine what it would have been like if they lost that game. Like we're talking like biblical. We're talking Dante's depiction of hell.
Yeah,
is what we would be sat here doing a rating show. So was it convincing? No. Was it exciting? No. Is everyone taking the lids off? Probably not. But they did win. And that needs to be reminded. They did win.
And they were in very bad form in the last time that we saw them play, and the way that it was breaking down. And so, yeah, look, I use the analogy of just try not to get stuck in the mud, because no matter what, there will be a game next week, unless we get another bout of lockdowns and COVID. But yeah,
fucking don't put that out to the. Don't put that out to the fucking ecosystem, bro. Last thing we want is lockdown.
I said this to you earlier. It's like there was a subconscious anger because, in my perception of it, subconsciously, some people wanted to lose so that he could get sacked. And therefore, the anger spilt out in a different way.
We live in an era where I think any sporting club with the advent of YouTube has potentially the worst thing that can ever happen, because now you're seeing normal people like sportsmen who might be incredibly average human beings link themselves to a big sporting entity like players who then play for Carlton. So say someone like Campos, not picking on him, sure he's a lovely guy, but he suddenly is a lot higher esteem than pick 50 running around at North Melbourne. So I think that you are living in a generation and society where ego, expectation meets something new, though. There's a difference between expectation and the sense of being obligated to achieve. So, when you hear that thing, without going real philosophical, when people say, but I'm a nice person, why do bad things happen to me? Never confuse just because of how you are, you deserve good things. Do you know what I mean? That's not how life works. Being nice, there isn't a moralistic thing. And it's the same. Carlton don't deserve to win a flag because they've won 16 flags. Far from it. It should be harder for them to win 17. So I feel like a lot of the anger is right. I think you are spot on, Terry. I think a lot of people are angry because they wanted Carlton to lose, so Voss was sacked, and it somehow magically makes it better. But when we go into the ratings today, Jesus Christ himself ain't going to come down from the heavens and delay the second coming to coach Carlton and fix it. I don't think he could, and he's meant to be near perfect. So it is what it is.
Yeah. I guess what we're going to do here, we're going to go one by one, player by player, unpack it, look at heat maps, look at movement, get a different angle of the game and see if it was really as bad as what the reaction was, which it generally isn't as bad as what it... Oh, actually, no, sometimes it's worse. The GWS game was definitely worse when we did the ratings.
I hate it when Terry hits me with a cliche. It's never as bad as it is, and it's never as bad as it seems, or whatever it is. Yeah. Oh.
I haven't seen the ratings, but I do have a sense that it won't be as bad as what the anger that I felt last night.
Depends how you look at it. So there's two ways. With a lot of people doing analysis on socials, there's three ways that you can do it, right? You can just do the easy thing, turn on the camera and give an opinion. Yeah. Then you can go into the data, and then you can go into the data and go, this is really good. Yay! Or you can look at the data and go, okay, this aesthetically looks good, but what does this tell us long term? Why is it good? And why does it feel so bad? Why is it an 8-point win? And hopefully, through the end of this journey, we'll get a bit of an indication of why that might be. Why we might all be feeling like, you know, we've woke up this morning with a supermodel, but she's not replying to our texts. We've had a little win, but it's not going to be a long-term win.
She stayed over, but then she ghosted me as soon as she left.
Story of my life.
Yeah. All right. Let's begin, shall we? We'll start in our back line.
Let's get down to business.
We're going to start with Wiedering. Oh, interesting because of the way he spoke during the week. I was really ready for a strong response. He was very candid about his performance last week and how he reflected and seemed fresh and ready to not have two bad games in a row.
Did I fuck up and not put 15 in there?
Yeah. That's okay.
That's what happens when you're up too early, isn't it?
You've had a day. I just thought we'd go.
Tell you what, Pom, you're talking about standards and you're completely letting you down. Okay, right. Let me bring it up on your screen so you can see what we're about to talk about. StreamYard telling me, oh, you can't have more than 100 items. Yeah, well, I won more than 100 items. Right, so here we are. Here he is. Gotcha. So what went wrong for Jacob Wiedering? Well, I mean, two things went wrong. Right, so we talked about this. If you guys were supporting the Pummy and Oz channel and you saw me go and see the beautiful Fiona, I was over there and we were talking about ways to beat Carlton. One of the ways we talked about was the way that you can use someone like Peter Wright to put him in the goal square. We saw something new this week because they didn't have the monopoly of toes. They only had Peter Wright, and then they had Nate Caddy, who was really more of a third at this stage of his development. He doesn't really want to take on a big boy. They used Matt Guelphy in a very specific way, right? And I said, why moving him into the goal square works is he doesn't have his support. So it's hard for him to play out in front. They took away his support by using players like Guelphy and Gresham to stop players coming to help him. So invariably, Wiedering was on a 2-1 or having to fight his way there. Guelphy about 4 times this week made what I like to call the illegal shepherd, which is where he kind of chases someone, makes it look like he's chasing them, but gets in his way. And that's where Wiedering suffered. But one thing that worries me about Jacob is few times he was there, his hands are there, the ball's coming into his hands, and he never does the clasping motion. And it's almost like he's struggling from whatever this weird fear is. He's spending the money before he's actually got it. It's almost like his brain is like, right, okay, I'm going to go down here. But he hasn't done the hard bit of actually grabbing the ball. And that'd be very interesting because there is like a subconscious pressure, I feel like, on these players, which is starting to show on the leaders.
Yeah.
Petra made a great comment about 100 times on the watch along and numerous times on the fan cams. It's the leadership on field, and the leaders have to take a look at themselves because felt like Cripps and Wheaton were very panicked this week.
Yeah. The Falcon at the end, which led to the Martin goal, just you just don't see it from Jacob. And then even if he's had a poor game in the past, he always responds. So,
you know what it reminded me of? Darcy Moore last year. So Darcy Moore, when Nathan Murphy retired, there was a real link period where he went from the loose man in defence to having to play fullback. And there was so many times that he won the ball but didn't take the mark. It was almost like he was thinking too much about what he was going to do before executing the basics. A great analogy for golf. You should never miss a 2-foot putt. It's almost impossible. If you ever train it and you're a single-figure handicapper, you'll never miss it. It's amazing what happens, though, when the pressure comes and you start thinking about the next tee shot before putting the ball in the hole. You start rushing and just going through the motions, you'll miss them. It's almost like that's happening with him, that he's not making sure of the first part of his 5-step plan.
Well, I think part of the solution is what he actually said himself to Jared Waitley on the radio last week. And that was, if it's not working for me, focus on helping someone else.
And now there's a big job. He's been the man for Jack when he first went down the back, for Nick Haynes, for Mitch McGovern. Now it's the time that there's that reciprocal love. And you know what? This week, we're going to talk about them. They paid him back. They paid him back big style, Nick Haynes and Jack Silvani.
Yeah. So a 5.1 for Weeders. And we'll move along to one of those first two names because this guy was arguably one of the best on ground. Jack Silvani, back in the team, and everything just seems so different when he's in there.
It's genuinely boring watching Jack. He's, I used to complain about Nick Newman. I didn't complain, but I used to say he's like vanilla ice cream, white paint. It's monotonous looking at his stats because it's just the same stuff over and over again. And all it is the basics. We're not getting excited. This guy isn't the greatest key defender of all time. This guy is probably the greatest in the league at the minute, just doing the raw basics. So you can see nearly every stat bang on. Very interesting change to his game, though, this week. You'll see 0 tackles, which is weird for JSOS, which is usually a trait we see from Jacob Wheaton. And that's because look at how deep he was. He had to go to be that man that doesn't lose a one-on-one contest, that makes it hard. At times, winning one-on-ones when he had no right to. Strong 1%ers. And, one thing that turns me on, we talked about Harry Dean in the watch-along this week, and saying that the biggest thing with young defenders at the minute is knowing when to go and intercept and when to just spoil the football. It's like something that's been trained out of young players. Harry Dean at the minute doesn't know you're legally allowed to spoil the football. You don't have to take a mark. And I was like, it'd be interesting to see how long it takes. But Jack, you watch him. He knows when it's time to punch, when it's time to go. And that's an uncanny gift. So very solid game from Jack.
When I zoom out, and I'm able to zoom out with Jack Silvani, because I think one of the biggest questions going into the season was, what is the solution for the partner to Jacob Wiedering? Is it safe to say that we can answer that question before this season ends and it's Jack Silvani? Like, are we that confident that this is it?
100% I do.
Yeah.
Jai asks, how many intercept marks? He was one of 4 in the Blues to get 3. Nick Haynes, Sam Doherty, Tom de Koning, who we're going to talk about soon, had 3 intercept marks. I agree. And I think it comes quite simple. If you said to me, what would I rather do at the minute? Find 1.7 million to re-sign Tom de Koning or re-sign Jack Silvani. Jack Silvani, for me, is number 1 on that pecking order because it's something that in the time Jacob's been there, we've had many rucks. We haven't had a partner for him, for Jacob, since
He had,
Jones left.
well, yeah, I was going to say he had a little stint there where you could see he and Jones worked well with each other. I think Jones was part of the period of time where Jacob became the leader almost that he is today. And now he's got Jack, and they work so well with each other, and they trust each other, and they give it to each other on the field if they need to. So this is one of the rare times I'm pretty positive moving forward into the future, whether that's 2025 prospects or beyond. I think we found something here, and it's weird that I'm so clear on it, and I think a lot of us are pretty clear on it. This is it. And then, you know, you flagged this about a month ago about the need to maybe move one of those boys, those men, out of the back line, and we can see it's happening with McGovern, and it's the beginning of that period. Do you think that's going to stay? Do you think they've realized that that's the way it's got to be, and maybe we are 1-2 tall when they're all playing?
There's no doubt in my mind that it looks a lot more structured. There's still a few issues there, particularly on the ground ball, which I don't think Carlton have quite found the small guy to do it yet.
Yep.
But yeah, this is a fascinating one. I've said this a lot. There's a lot of videos coming up about Jack, and I'm going to upset Carlton fans. But he's one of my top 3 unrestricted agents. If I was an opposition coach right now, if I was Sydney, I'd be like, he's an unrestricted free agent. Carlton are pissing about with that big guy in the ruck. Let's turn his head a little bit. Yeah. 27, 28 next year. Let's cause Carlton a problem because we're desperate for a backman. We know he's good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. I hope it doesn't, but if I was a list manager, I'd be in his agent's ear right now saying, what do you want?
Yeah. So it was good. It was good on the night. 7.8 for Jack Silvani. And then we get to Adam Saad. Oh, very excited to unpack this. This started as perfect as it could with the first shot on goal. What's the data saying here?
This is one of the most fascinating games that I've analysed. And when I watched it again this morning with my cup of coffee, I was really, really confused about it because that first quarter, we're seeing him play really high half-back. He's playing in that aggressive role. The first change I noticed this week was that second wingman role. Carlton have identified we need to be attacking. So what they've done is they've floated 5 players through it. Now, Adam can't play that wing role solely on his own. He'd die after a quarter. Cooper Lord couldn't do that. He'd die after a quarter. So they're doing the modern day thing of playing one person in spurts there and then giving the rest. So it's like an extra 2K to their game. He was very quickly released back to a lockdown role after the first quarter. And it really does affect his game, I find, because he was really strong at the ground ball. And I feel like this is where it is at the minute. Voss has identified I can go a bit smaller, but the problem is Matt Carroll struggles on the ground ball. Ollie Hollands is built like a wet cloth. So he's not really going to be there to win ground ball against 4 small forwards. So he's kind of a victim of being his own size. You know, one thing I do love about Jack Adam, though? Fuck me, he's got some fire.
Yes.
He genuinely, when he jumper punches someone, he means it.
He's got something in his eyes, man. This is in a year where we've been criticizing the team for not having that spirit and togetherness. No questions there about him remonstrating with Sammy Durham.
Mate, I'm telling you, like honestly, he's got an evil side, and I'm all for it, mate. He's very quick.
What I'm struggling to understand with the Saad situation, are we adjusting his role and he's about to come out the other end, or is he regressing and this is the back end of Adam Saad's career? I just look at this guy as a guy that can play until he's 34.
It sounds pathetic. It sounds pathetic to answer your question because I can't believe I'm saying it. But I think we have a lack of depth in the Nick Newman role. It's the easiest role in the world. Everyone's got 7 players that can play the Nick Newman role. Wow, a defender that can get a lot of the ball and put his head over the ball. But you look at Carlton's small defenders, Sard's it. So without Nick Newman to do it, he has to play that defensive-minded role. Is it Chincotta who's a natural halfback? They could do that, but I feel like at the minute, until Boyd gets back into the good books, he ain't doing it.
Yeah, I'm so lost at the moment with Sard. I think at the start of the year, I thought he'll just work his way out of it. And he has moments of brilliance. And then he has moments where I'm not sure if it's his fault for where he's running to or his teammates' fault for where they're giving him the ball. But he's finding himself trapped in pockets of and corners of space where there's not a lot of it. And he's forced to just bang it on the boot, and he's becoming a bit of a hack kick, which is just not Adam Sard the way I know him, or unless I've just never really known him properly.
So it's not his best role, but it needs must. See, Rambo's saying about Billy Wilson. Yes and no. Billy Wilson, like for me, you look at the modern day game, young players aren't playing that defensive role. It is going to an older person. Like you want Billy Wilson on the outside. Look at him in the VFL. Since he's been given less of a defensive role, he's averaging over 20. Like you don't want to negate it. And I think Billy Wilson's more attacking than he is defensing anyway from his junior years. So Carlton needs must, really. They've signed Harry Charlson, who is a lockdown small, but he's about as close to AFL football as I am. So sad.
All right. So Sardi gets a 7 for his game. Then we get to Nick Haynes, who, pretty clear to see when I look at this heat map and I see Jack Silvani's heat map, how this has played out. Thought he was pretty solid.
Nick Haynes, boy, oh boy. It's good to see Nick Haynes. There's something that makes me smile about Nick Haynes, and I don't know what it is, but he's really, really making me just a happy camper. I really enjoyed seeing that maturity from him. I thought his work with JSOS to actually protect Jacob was fantastic. One thing Nick Haynes has got, see what I said about modern day defenders. If you go back and watch the junior championships this week, I think every defender is guilty of this. Not one of them seems to have that natural IQ yet of when do I punch, when do I tackle, when do I mark, when do I do it. Nick, you can see he's played this game for way too long that he gets it real strong. When they attacked the pocket, I felt he controlled it well. Couple of moments, though, with Nick is I feel like his leading patterns are quite predictable. And I think they adjusted to that in the third very quickly, knowing that he does that little cheat code of where he almost goes out of bounds to come back in pounds and wheel and go. But very solid game.
Yep.
Good
Lana
numbers,
summarized it well.
Blue, beautiful.
Yeah, Lana summarized it well. He is reliable now. And he's pretty quickly become a very solid acquisition, and he'd be one of our most reliable players that we have at the minute. So 7.2 for Nick Haynes. Then we get, before we just go on, I'll just get you to put in slide 24. Matt Carroll, young fella, he was subbed. He was subbed out of this game.
Oh, Carol, I was but a fool. So Matty. So got a little bit more of the old ground defense game, and he was very strong. The thing that killed Matt, and this is one of them roles, so this is a real interesting role. If you are going to win the ground ball, this is where you're getting guys who are absolutely meters gained, clear, like driving score launch machines. And he won a lot of the ball. The big thing with him, look at his meters gained, way below AFL average per sub, per touch. So this is more of an intelligence thing. This is him learning the game. You can see he's in all the right places. This reminds me of Matt Cottrell year one.
Right.
Where it's almost like he needs that game, like he did in the VFL that time, and then came on after a quarter and took the piss as a sub. He needs that game where he really takes it on, because at times I feel like he's playing within himself, but he's doing well for the start of it. He's getting his head in the right position. He's attacking the ball. I want to see him attack with the ball in his hand a little bit. Take the game on.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did he play against the Eagles last time out?
From memory, wasn't that his debut?
Maybe, yeah. Because I'm sort of where I'm going with this is: do you keep him in? Do you just keep persisting with the guy like this, or do you say, Jordan Boyd, it's time? Because I feel like Boyd can give us maybe the meters gained, but maybe not the defensive acumen.
Yeah, it was his debut, Terry, to confirm. It was his debut that game.
Right.
So, yeah, to be honest, with the back line, you've got to keep it as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't tinker with it. If this is what Voss wants and he's happy with it, keep it as it is.
I don't mind. I mean, he's played 7 games, so I don't mind persisting with him over the next couple of weeks. He obviously does need to reach a level of performance as well. But he's got that thing about him that I like, which is he puts his head in a hole. Yeah, he puts his head in a dangerous hole. Where
There's a lot of Nick Newman about him. There's a lot of Nick
Yeah.
Newman in the terms of that he's willing to make the mistake, and that's important. That's important. Like, he ain't gonna die thinking.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer this next 2 weeks, with all due respect to the Eagles and North, I'm debating if they're a football team, both of them at the minute. So
after what I watched
2,
yesterday, yeah.
Well, the next 2 games, I'd like to think that Carlton don't bring in anyone unless it's for a debut or to try something. Like, I'd like to think this is our last chance at having some areas we can work on our craft a bit.
Yeah.
Because there's some big tests to come. So
yeah.
I'd like to see Carroll not be dropped. I think it's easy. Boyd's going to do it. If it fails against Eagles and North, Boyd's ready.
Yeah. So a 4.5 for the young fella. I like him. He's got a fan in me. Then we get to Sam Doherty playing in his we would call it a customary role. Like, this is the Sam Doherty football that we're used to seeing.
If you're watching the Collingwood game, there was something I said that I've got to give Voss props. And I'm going to give it props because I'm starting to think that I heard my old university is doing a degree in the Premier League, and I kind of laughed when that happened because I was like, as if you're doing a degree in a sport. Like, do you know what I mean? That's just so generic. I'm beginning to think the AFL does actually need a degree, because I would have thought it's as simple as playing a halfback flanker who wasn't all Australian in that role at halfback flank, playing a small forward in the small forward line, because that's what they do, is the go.
What you mean?
When
like
I saw Hawthorn start talking about.
Well, you mean like playing players to their strengths?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And me and Dylan had a great conversation. It seems like there's a fascination between 3 or 4 coaches that you've got to be versatile, when no good team is versatile. All their players play the same roles, and the only time they're versatile is if they have an injury. This is Sam Doherty. This is Sam Doherty. He's playing there. When he plays this role, everything that you don't like about Sam Doherty's game is hidden. You look at Rory Laird, who plays this role. Rory Laird is probably just as guilty as Sam Doherty for chucking it on his boot for banter. But he's got a whole team to protect him. So this was another Sam Doherty game. And this is very similar to what we'd expect Saad to play. No defensive responsibility. Get the game moving forward. Get us meters gained. Get us territory. And for that role, I thought he did incredibly well. It was a good Doc role.
Yeah, it's solid. It is. What's the future of this role?
Well, I think in an ideal world, we'd be talking, if this was fully fit, I think we'd be talking about Saad is here and Newman's the other way. Newman, Saad.
Yeah.
But I like it. I'm more than happy for Sam Doherty to play this.
Yeah.
To play this role all day long, every day.
Same. So a 7.4 for Doc. There's one thing I hope he stops doing, it's handballing to people's feet. He nearly tore Chincotta's hamstrings off their bone. 5-meter handball to his feet.
You know what? I watched this game back, and there's a lot of moments of there. Cripps did it about 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
Skurno did it numerous times, where they've just executed like their first-year players. It's hard to believe that they're 10 years into their careers. It's almost very panicky, fidgety, and you watch Collingwood play, them players come to the top.
Yeah.
Come to the top. But when the chips are down, ours just kind of get a bit fidgety.
Mm-hmm. They can't calm down under the pressure at times and get into that flow. So, look, that's a 7.4 for Doc. That's 2 solid games in a row. You could make the case he was best on ground for sure last time out, and he's backed it up with another solid performance. So that's good to see from that front. Then we get to Patrick Cripps, the skipper. Lots of talk about Patrick Cripps last night.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's an interesting one, Cripper. I mean, was it a good game? Probably not, let's be honest. But, I mean, I want to defend Cripper here. If Carlton are serious as a football club, you can't have a contested midfielder being your best player.
Mm.
You can't. Like, you look at Brisbane, they get excited by the dynamism of Lachie Neale. You look at Collingwood, all the talk is about Nick Dacos. No one gives Jack Crisp any credit. In reality, this guy has got to be the physical presence getting the ball out. And again, strong contestedly. This week, all of the players struggled with this avenue, the ground ball. The ground ball was really bizarre. With Cripps, he was running over the ball quite a bit. This usually when I see ground balls with Cripps below AFL average, he's been tagged. He was running over the ball, mistiming the weight of the roll. Defensively, he was okay. Clearances are down though. Even the amount of times Carlton targeted with the handball really down. Then you've got the talk where I think people have taken Michael Voss completely off his word, where he smiled and said he moved forward. I have to have a word with him, but then doubled down and said it was player-led. And watching that, Cripps was probably the most weakest player impact-wise in the midfield. So the fact he said, I'll come out of it for a quarter, let Lord get some minutes, I don't mind that. You know what? Like, you've got to sometimes praise the bravery there. It would be easy for Cripps to say, no, I'll just carry them on my shoulders again. But Cripps could tell he was off the boil. I actually think that shows good leadership. So if Cripps is the one who said, Voss, I want to go on the forward line, fuck it. Fair play.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't watched it until after the fan cams last night, and I kind of wish I did beforehand because I think there was a bit of an overreaction to it. It's like, are they revolting against the coach, and whose side are you on? There was a bit of that, but yeah, I mean, we need Hewitt, Chera, and Walsh to take over that midfield and allow Cripps to pick and choose his moments, and also, play a sacrificial role and step away, delegate at times.
It's fascinating that in the last 12 months, we've had McRae talk about players coming to him.
Yeah.
And going against the team plan. Brisbane have done it. Lachie Neale went full forward pocket last year in a game. Genuinely, this is what we're looking for our players to say, you know what, today's not my day. I might be better here. He's playing better than me.
Yeah.
Did it work this week in the third quarter? Absolutely not. It didn't. But I want to see more of that from the players, having a bit of accountability and saying, look, you know what? I can't do it today. I can't do it today. Someone else is better at my job today. That's honesty. That's accountability.
Well, that's what it looks like. It doesn't have to be just in words. Yeah. So 5.6 for the skipper. Then we move along.
Player revolt.
Adam Chera, I'll just get you to upload 30 when you get a chance. Chera, I thought this was one of the more consistent performers across the 4 quarters. even with 20 minutes off the ground with a nasty hit at the hands of Sammy Durham.
This last 5-week block, I would say, is the closest I've seen to Adam Chera that I've ever seen it from a draft perspective.
Oh,
It reminds me of the Chera that I remembered. And if you go back to that and you look for my posts on forums, I was team Chera, I wasn't team Dow. And what I like about him is he's the Swiss Army knife of midfielders. He can defend, he can attack, he can do it all. And you know what? We've praised Haynes and JSOS. They're Mr. Reliable. What was down, they stepped up. Full credit. Look, that heat map is a heat map we usually associate with Mr. Cripps.
mm-hmm.
This guy has stepped in and said, you know what, boys? I'll be him today. Look, doubling the norm for a second midfielder in contested possessions, killing ground balls, handball received, a lot of them contested. This is very Patrick Cripps to Mark Murphy circa 2015. Very impressed with him because this isn't his natural game, but this is a man here telling me I'm doing what I can for my team.
Yeah. And you know what? I think we got a little bit of luck with Chera as well. Because, I mean, you can't help but feel that hit from Durham was centimeters away or a little bit more force, and there could have been a concussion, and that just would have stifled his continuity, and it would have been such a shame. And, maybe there are footy guys out there that just look after certain players. And I'm glad because, I mean, it's pretty clear. He got his hamstrings right. Touch wood, still halfway through the year. Still a long way to go, but he's been available and he's been pretty good. So, yeah, a shining light.
Mate, brave man.
7.8 for Adam Chera. Then we'll move on to George Hewitt. He was named across the half forward line. I was curious to see how this would play out after that the teams were named.
So another one that if you go back to watch this show 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, we saw Cripps have this wall. And we explained how Cripps' role is slowly adapting to where we're not seeing Patrick Cripps. I'm going to stand there and be a brick wall. I'm going to go out there and try and stop the impact. And the hard yak has gone and spread. Again, you saw this from George Hewitt. George Hewitt stepping into that role and doing it well. He worked really hard. And again, look, from a contested possession wise, the second behind Chera. So Chera's doing that hard work. Do you know what I mean? Really, really working overtime. Loved his defensive game. Real fascinating as well that he really had the most handball receives in congestion. Like he got done by his team and still managed to find a way to do something. So a solid game from George. Wasn't his best game, but worked hard all game.
Yeah, his footwork and his strength in traffic has improved. He's always been strong, but he can get himself out of almost any situation, which, as you mentioned, kind of works well when you're a Carlton player because your teammates generally are putting you in some of the more dangerous positions that you can be. 6.6 for George. What went against him? His disposal efficiency?
Efficiency, his application offensively as well. You've got to remember that nowadays, particularly this algorithm, wants to see midfielders work two ways.
Uh-huh.
You don't get away with just being very good one way. So just them chains, he didn't start. And a lot of it, though, that's how he got a lot of possessions. So a lot of these possessions are fraudulent. They've been handballed into him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't want that. The last thing you want your midfield is, like, out of the 15 handball receives, 10 of them where he was already contested. You don't want that. You don't want someone handballing back to trouble. George was the beneficiary of a few players that probably owe him some subs this week.
6.6. Then we get to Sam Walsh. It was a bit of a breakthrough game after a couple of quiet ones. You got there.
Yeah, this is Look, I want to caveat this, right? This is a good look. At face value, 72% disposal efficiency. Shot at goal, brilliant. 4 tackles, decent amount of clearances. Let's all get excited. My issue here is this is a real bog standard game for a man that is getting that much ball outside post clearance. So he's got the ball 6 times from Carlton's clearance out in space uncontested. And this is the next level of my little Samuel Walsh. I really want to see this guy generate a bit more for us. And that's just been real high level because he's got a good score. But this man here is so much better than this. This is one of them games where I want to see him turn it on. And I felt like it was good. I'm looking for very good, excellent from him. But this is the right direction. It's all signs point to good Walsh at the minute.
Yeah. He lifted as well, I thought, in the fourth quarter especially. So 7.3 for Sammy Walsh. He was one of a couple of players that was at the center of trade talk. Harry had a little bit of it. Charlie had a little bit of it. Sam Walsh. So interesting to see how he responded.
Yeah. It's fascinating as well because, social media does my head in because Carlton fans sometimes, I think, forget 17 teams along with us exist. This year, look at all the talk about Chad Warner. People are talking about Chad Warner was an idiot to re-sign. Then there's the speculation he signed the extension, so it's all in his hands at restricted free agency. When you're not doing well, that's what the media do. They're saying sell players. So, and the cold hard facts are Harry Mackay, you've got 2 key forwards. You've got a plethora of elite midfielders. So, unfortunately, it's going to happen. But you know what? Credit to Sam Walsh. Still see what I say. I want to see more from him because this is an okay game 7. I'm wanting 8s from my midfield as bare minimum, especially if you play in the loose.
Yeah. All righty. 7.3 for Walshy. Oh, fresh photo, fresh cut. Chin Cotter, Pom Cotter. Wasn't it good to see him back on the field?
Full caveat on this game, right? 3 touches genuinely concerns me, as good as your rating is. So you'll see there's a new rating on your screen. Tag Oppo.
Tag Oppo.
At the bottom. So that is a depreciation stat from where that player has killed the other player. So you can see there, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely blanketed Merritt. Merritt's had a limit on his output. But that being said, see any video I've ever talked about tagging. Why I hate tagging in today's game is if you don't do something with the ball, all we've done is kill one player and killed one player on our own team. People always forget that. So there's 22 players out on the paddock. If we blanket one player and that player doesn't do anything, we're one player down each, regardless of how good that is. And I felt like with Alex, great game defensively, easily. He scored 10 out of 10. Well, 9.9 out of 10 for his defensive application. I know he can impact the scoreboard. I've seen it. This time last year, he did the same with Mr. Merritt, and he killed, and he got some end product from it. So that's it. But as for the game on Zach Merritt, sensational. Zach Merritt was a non-event. 1 score involvement from Zach Merritt. Only the 14 touches. He went at 60% efficiency. He got the ball the same amount of times from the clearances. Alex blanketed it. 0 involvement from him. Only the 1 clearance from Zach Merritt from them touches. So real strong performance. But I need to see some more from him. But I will give him the benefit of the doubt. He hasn't played at elite level for a long time. Defensively, impeccable. Long term, I need to see a minimum of 15 touches, some score involvements. But that will come. Because the only tag I've seen better than this week is Ed Langdon. And Ed Langdon, literally, there was a passage of play that he was helping him tie his shoelaces.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Alex played 2 games in the VFL, both on managed minutes, or was the second game a full game?
So first game in the VFL, he played limited minutes. Second game, he still didn't play the full game. He played 3 quarters. So yeah, right. He's coming off limited. But you've also got to remember, and I said this in the VFL for the VFL watch along, he looked good at patches, but the problem is the AFL level is 10 times the pace of VFL. Like I can't specify this. Any idiot can do well in under 18s normal games in club football. Yeah. Few idiots can excel in under 18 state level. And then you've got VFL. Every idiot can be good at that. Few players can go up the level in the AFL. It's a different speed. So I could see that from Alex. Defensively, he followed him. He killed him. Next bit for Alex, and I know he can do it. I love the boy, is he can be an offensive threat as well. So I'm being harsh on him, but
no, I get it.
Look, next week, perfect game for him the next 2 weeks, because the next 2 weeks, I don't think the players he's going to tag are dangerous. And with Zach, you know what? Credit to him in the 4th quarter. Zach Merritt tried everything. He started 2 stoppages at half forward, 4 half back, on the ball. This guy killed him. He couldn't find it. Like, I made a joke to him after the game. I'm pretty sure the only time he got any peace was when he ran through the soppy little banner. I was surprised Alex didn't hold his hand and help him through the banner, but I need him to attack.
Yeah. Yep. So, solid. Good to see him back. It's always good to see some resilience.
Scoring a 0.5 for attacking facets.
Cop that. 4.2 for Alex Cincotta. I really like this photo. Like, really, really like the photo.
You can see which players I like in this list by what photos I allocated them.
As we go to Horacio Fantasia.
Genuinely, look, I'm a very petty human being. Yeah. And you learn a lot about me. If you get to know me, you learn a lot about me. Here we are, Horacio Fantasia. And look, the rose back! Roll! That's a Fantasia roll. This is a really interesting one with it, right? Because this is exactly what Motlop did. Like, genuinely, the only difference between Motlop and Horacio was he kicked a snag early doors.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. It's a real complicated role, this. I'm not too sure what this role is. Part of me thought when Cincotta came back, this was the end. This was the end. I thought maybe Cincotta goes, right, okay, you've got the extra mid there. He's playing it defensively. I'm not too sure what it is. But, I mean, look, like Petra says, I'm sure Michael Voss, in his mentality, gave Cincotta a 10 because his job was just to tag. Yeah. Whatever this role is, I would be genuinely shocked if Voss doesn't say this is the best game he's ever seen. Like, because it's obvious now, my algorithm can't work it out. I can't work it out. But these numbers are literally the same all the time, whoever plays this role. So I'm assuming that means it's good.
And that maybe is explaining why Motlop's still on the team.
Yeah, and I can tell you, statistically, he was better than Motlop by a goal. So Voss is... I don't know what the role is. I'm trying to work it out. It's beyond my purview. But like I said last week, I'm not going to complain about the role anymore. It's here.
Yep.
Deal with it, Pom.
Deal with it. 5.2 for Horacio.
I need to work on that algorithm. So if anyone can shed some light on what they're looking for there, Carlton Football Club, call me, because I'd really like to do that role more justice. I feel it's harsh that I'm judging it as the other teams.
Right. What about Ollie? Young Ollie Hollands.
Vosprays version 2. Sam Doherty plays halfback. Everything's gravy, baby. Ollie Hollands plays attacking left wing. And my beautiful little human being is back enjoying life. Really great to see. Uncontested possessions. I haven't seen a Carlton winger do it. And I want to give Ollie a huge shout out. One of the arguments people make why Ollie Hollands is rubbish and why Blake Acres is a god is that ability to mark. His ability in the air was really strong. Really, really happy with what he's doing. Real high pressure. Now, the next thing for him is you can see he's had quite a lot of the ball and he's poor kicks at times get away with it because of how Carlton's forward setup is. Get the ball in. And his effective kicks were quite high. What I'd love to see from Ollie is just iron out. Because it's not the long kicks he screws up. It's the short kicks. It's the short kicks. And you can see there, Matt Gondolfo answering it. Look, 4 disposals to a turnover is not good enough. And I went back and counted every one of his turnovers. They're them dinky kicks, them kicks that you don't usually screw up. The hard ones he executes, it's them circuit breakers, I call them, that 15-meter inboard kick to an uncontested. It really kills him. But that's me being really harsh on him. Like, well, no, not really harsh, but that's me wanting him to be the best player. But outside of that, he's the first to finish his fuck up. He's first to tackle. He's the first to chase it. Just iron that bit out. And boy, oh boy, we've got a really, really good player here.
Yeah. Been saying it for the last few weeks now. You can see why it's worth persisting with these certain players. I think Matt Carroll falls in a similar category. Like, you can just sort of see there's something there worth getting 50 games into him and seeing where that takes him. I think Ollie's he's nowhere near the end product, but his capacity for contest and his appetite for it, it just keeps going. And then when we freeze up and we stop running, he's one of the few that just never stops trying to create dash.
He tries. He tries. You know what's fascinating is, I said this on the watch along in the under-18s game, right? Cody Walker is probably the worst player to prove Pom's point. You watch him play for his club, right? He's annoying because he's having way too much fun. Big smile on his face. He's giggling. He's chuckling. Then he plays for Vic Country. They play him in the forward pocket and he looks fucking miserable. It's double physics, Wednesday afternoon, 3 o'clock till 4. Hates life. He's sat with the smelly kid. He's miserable. Harry Dean, having the time of his life. Ollie Hollands, you look at him on the wing. He's having fun out there. So I'm hoping this is the end of this halfback experiment. Keep him there. Give him the job. And now we're going to look at his kicking. Get that right. It's going to be good.
Yeah. 7.5 for young Ollie. Hey, George, mate, I love you. You don't need to be here if it's going to bring anger and frustration to your life. Like you're on your phone, you just swipe out. Like you don't need to be here. You don't have to be here. We do the ratings every week, win or lose. So if you're frustrated and you're just not enjoying it, like just swipe out. We'll see you next week. No problem. But there are people that want to be here and want to enjoy it. So if that's not you today, no worries. You don't have to be here. No one's forcing you to be here. So maybe tonight's not the night that you want to be watching.
This is the last time I will
move on.
These words.
Cooper Lord. Another positive light.
Okay, you know when you cry when you watch the dogs, and you know what? You're one of them people that goes on social media. Life's going a little bit hard. Your wife's not talking to you. She's sick of your shit. Your kids aren't returning the calls. So you go on social media and you're like, fucking Nick Austin. Look what Matt Kennedy's doing. Just go and watch Cooper Lord's highlight reel and realize what Matt Kennedy would be doing for the Blues. He would be playing a little bit on the wing, a little bit half forward, every so often popping up at halfback. So when you're watching Matt Kennedy have a defined role where he doesn't have to do anything other than what he's good at, just think, Paul Cooper Lord, in his second year as an AFL footballer, he's shoveling the shit sandwich for them Blues. And you know what he's doing? He's doing a fucking good job. His wing work, honestly, oh my Lord. I was having so much fun watching this guy remind me of seeing Will Setterfield on the wing. I had flashbacks. I hated it, but I enjoyed it. You know what I love about this guy is this guy's got some spunk, man. This guy has got some. He ain't scared. He's up there. There was a great passage of play where Will Setterfield, someone must have like hit him on the head and told him he was a good footballer because he was giving it big un to everyone. He was straight in Setterfield's face. There was that tackle. Setterfield pushed his head into the ground, and 5 seconds later, he returns the favour and rubs his little soppy head into the grass. I like this. There's a bit of dickhead in Cooper. And long may it continue. And I'm looking forward to seeing, mark my words, we are going to be talking in 3 years' time. We'll do this rating show. And it's going to be Lord, Smith, and Walker. And he's going to be our Cripps of that era.
He's just got good players find a way to impact no matter where they're played. And I think he's got it about him. Can you remind me why he was overlooked again? Like how it happened?
Yeah, so he got a niggling injury in his draft year, which kept him out of a lot of games in the draft. Another thing that went against him, and we see this quite a lot, if you play for a team that is incredible, the Sandringham Dragons, right? And you are just the big body, it goes against you. His age is an issue. He was one of the older players. So his execution was about the same as everyone else. But if you go back and watch any Sandringham game, they're all on the AFL website. You can go and watch them. He stands out. So he was one of them players that isn't sexy. And we talk about this a lot in the draft. Cody Walker stands out the same way as Dersma does. That you don't have to know anything about football. You know they're pretty good. Right. Cooper Lord is that guy that gets no love because he works hard. He wins the ball when he gives it to someone else. And you know what? He's starting to see it for us. He's working really hard. I really like this guy.
Yeah, my appreciation for him grows every time I watch him. And I think the mullet suits the way he plays, by the way. I usually don't like mullets, but I think he should stay.
Mate, I do. I mean, to be fair, I'd hate to be a midfielder at Sandringham Dragons. If you are a parent and you want to avoid giving them a stigma, make sure you move out of the Sandringham Dragons catchment area unless they're a silky midfielder.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
6.4 for Cooper.
Very good. You know what? That's really hard as well. If you go back and watch the ratings with Matt Kennedy, that's a Matt Kennedy rating, a guy that's played 4 roles and done them above AFL average. So that's how good he is.
Blake Acres. Let's unpack this. This was an amazing experience as a fan watching his game.
Yeah, this is a tough one from Blakey because his ratings reflect really real life. Really real life. For everything bad he did, he then does something that makes you go, fuck, he's had a good game. And it's really tough. And you know what I'm going to say about Blake is what you're seeing is what I've always expected from Blake. I remember when we signed him, I said it's like a lateral 2 steps in front of Jack Noons. I don't think he's a world-class talent. I think he's a 6.57 footballer. And I think that everyone's judging him because they never watched him at Fremantle or St Kilda. Yeah, how great he was in that first year. And he is prone to brain farts. And I think that's what he is. As what you're seeing is what he is. He does make mistakes. Sometimes he is goofy. sometimes he does a really good impression of the dude from Some Mothers Do Have 'Em. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when he kicks, he's like, "Oh, Betty," but then he comes out and he kicks one of the best goals you'll ever see in a tight moment of the game.
When the pressure's high, we're talking about the repercussions of if we lose, what it means for the club, and all of that. It's classic Blake.
But I will say this: look at his heat map. Think back 4 weeks ago, Ollie Hollands' heat map, and then think about Ollie Hollands' heat map.
Yeah.
Everyone in the comments was saying Ollie was up there as the best players on the ground, and you're now bagging Blake Acres, which is what you were doing to Ollie Hollands. And that this is a harder role. And I am actually glad to see him play more on the defensive side because his body is physically built for it. He ain't going to get bullied by bigger wingers. And you know what? I'm cool with it. But now this is where the pressure is on the next gen to prove their worth that they can do it. But Blake is, and this is a compliment. People always take this as an insult, bang average footballer. And that's a compliment. Because being ban average means you're in the 1%.
Yeah.
That's a huge compliment.
6.7. That's what he is. I don't think anyone should be expecting stardom from him. If anything, he's probably overperformed more than not.
Oh.
Or if anything, he's performed more so because he's just stuck to what he doesn't try and go outside the realms of what he's capable of.
Genuinely, I thought I was high in that 2023 because I never thought he'd be that good.
Yeah,
I'd seen a lot of him, and this is where he is at. Like I'm okay with it. But Petra makes a great point, and so does Tatum. I think you see how he acts when it's fucking hard.
Yeah,
he stands out. A lot of his $1 million pals when it was tough. They were like, oh, God, I wish I had Hudson O'Keefe's mum. That's what they were thinking.
Yeah.
He stood up.
So that's Blake, 6.7. Then we get to De Koning. Loves the Essendon matchup, does De Koning.
Can I just say, I've seen some comments this week, and you know what? Fair enough. Everyone, it's a game of opinion. It's a game of opinion. But I've seen some comments around Tom De Koning, which actually make me sick. And I'll give you it, right? People are saying he broke even. 1.7 million footballer, and he just broke up even with Todd Oldstein, right? Okay, let's break that down. 29 to 20 hit outs, right? 10 score launches to 3. Thank you very much, Mrs. P. You're a legend. 7 clearances to 3, right? 3 shots, 1 goal, 1 to 0-0-0, right? The big one, right? The big one. 5 marks to no marks. 3 intercept marks, 2 of which were clear goal scoring opportunities. If that's break even, fuck me, I'd hate to see what a massacre is.
Yeah.
Like, that. Honestly, that's more one-sided than a Bonnie Blue video. Like, I don't know what game we're watching anymore. If that's breaking evens, fuck me. I never want to break even on a business deal if that's breaking evens because I'll get bankrupt.
We're in a really weird spot because if he doesn't play as dominantly, he's not focused, he must be leaving. When he plays well, beats his opponents, like, it's just Todd Goldstein. But like, had he not played this well, it was, his mind's not here. We are in a perpetual cycle of negativity and pessimism.
But I want to caveat this. Did I watch that game, right? Sit back at home and go 1.7 million? Absolutely fucking not.
No.
Did I think a million? No, because I am a miserable twat and I don't believe any ruckman on the planet is worth more than 800k. But that being said, this game individually, he absolutely beat the shit out of Todd Goldstein. And you know what? It was a danger game because Tom De Koning loses these matchups all the fucking time. When he plays a big, wily guy that refuses to work on the ground, opening bounce, I said on the watch along, he's going to win. He's going to destroy this game because he jumped over him, athletic, and it was straight away that mindset was on. I ain't fucking wrestling you, you old prick. I'm going to take you to new school. And he killed him.
You're playing my game. Yes. And that's
that was like, yes, Tom. Todd Oldstein. Bro's old enough to be me granddad.
Todd Oldstein. De Koning said something really interesting about Todd Goldstein after the game. I mean, and he's got a point. Like, shout out to Todd Goldstein. To be a ruck for that long, for that many years in the system.
I'm taking the piss, though, right? Incredible ruckman, knows the dark arts, tried to get Tom to play it. Thank Christ Tom didn't play it. Because I'm telling you now, if he didn't do what he did, we're sat here right now. We've sacked Voss. Everyone's pretending Graham Wright is the next Messiah. Right? Do you know what I mean? Tom's gone. You're all having this harebrained scheme that we'll trade up and get Dursma because his sister plays here. Life is shit, I'm telling you. And there's probably a chance that I'm like, Hull KR won this weekend. I'm going to fuck off back to a proper country, watch a proper sport, and never watch this shit again. That's probably where we are. Well done, TDK, keeping the hopes and dreams alive.
Absolutely. 8.4 for the big fella. As we then move along to Jesse Motlop.
Can I just say, every goal made me smile. Jesse, I needed this. I needed this so bad. Back in the forward line, where all of his negativity and all of his negative moments really, really are hidden in the forward line. He gets away with everything he's bad at. I really love this. Look at the crumbs. Triple more.
Wow.
Than you'd expect a small forward. The marks, massive. Marks inside 50, outperformed our key forwards. This is what Jesse's good at. You get him in the forward pocket. He doesn't have much work to do. And he'll be a pain in the arse. And it even allows him to work on defensive transition. You saw him a few times pop up down back as he was chasing and trying to help the Blues out. Still some issues. Missed some inexcusable goals. Yeah. If we're totally honest, this is what every small forward should be doing as a bare minimum requirement. 8s are the secret figure in this. 7 is okay. 8s are where I'm expecting. This is an easy position to be good at. An easy position. But he did it. He did it. He's back where he belongs. Now it's about continuing it because our small forwards have got this habit. We're going to talk about Lockie Foggett in a minute. 1 minute they have a good week, and then the next minute they turn into Casper the Friendly Ghost. But he's done it. So this needs to be the norm for Mr. Jesse.
Yeah, he's got to find some confidence with some consistency. I mean, again, not trying to downplay the opposition, but you can really find some confidence over the next few weeks because he's played well against both these teams that we're about to play in the next couple of weeks. So, yeah. Also, I mean, it's pretty clear his role is linked to the Fantasia role in the sense of his ability to play in this way is linked to Fantasia being in the team.
Mate, Fantasia is the most important footballer in this team, in my opinion. Because if I can just get through the rest of the year and I don't have to talk about Jesse Motlop in the midfield, I will be a happy man. But I'm going to be totally honest, look. Like, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm just trying to create some energy and get some miserable faces happy.
Yeah.
He needs to be looking at this next 3-week block. So what is he on at the minute? 2 goals? On it? 2 goals this week?
He's on...
no, he had 2 goals this week, didn't he? Right?
Right, yeah.
His past score, in my mind, playing Eagles and North, is 10, including this game.
So 8 over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Love it.
Join. Like, dine out. And then you've got Port, who are very good with smalls. Then you've got Collingwood. Like, feast now, young child. Feast.
An 8 for Jesse Motlop.
And you see, look, finally someone in the prodigal land. You've done your job in the highest esteem of where you should do. Well done. Jesse!
Can I just look at his heat map again? Wow, it's in the forward line.
Look at that. And look, if you look carefully as well, look, there is 4 outside the 50. 4 times he's... Oh, my God. This game's so easy when people just play where they need to fucking play in it. Honestly, if I ever see him in the midfield, I will ring membership up the minute he goes on the ball, and I am fucking cancelling.
All right, 8 for Jesse. Then we go to Lockie Fogarty. I don't know what I thought I was going to see from his heat map. I'm stunned to see this.
Oh, my good Lord. Okay, well, I tried to get the vibes up. Let's come crashing back down.
Back down to earth.
Who got the most ball from the clearances? Who was the number 1 targeted post-clearance player? It was Lockie Fogarty.
No way.
So we'll look at some of the names that this usually goes to. So usually what you're doing here is you're giving this to your outside run. So Andrew McGrath, Sard, Ollie Holland's feature, Nick Martin, the players you expect. Yeah, the Motlop role this week had a twin, and it was Lockie Fogarty. But I'm going to be totally honest. I am that sick of talking about Motlop in the midfield. I'll take 2 fuckers playing the role if Motlop's not. But I don't care anymore.
Well, wasn't Fogarty a guy that actually...
He was actually a midfielder.
Yeah, so it's not completely foreign to him.
This is probably, I'll give you that, Terry. Yeah, like if we were trying to make this role work.
I'm trying to sell you the pie.
No, genuinely, if I was, heaven forbid, one of Michael Voss's assistant coaches and he went, Pommy, I've had this plan, small forward, play as an extra midfielder, my brain instantly would have gone foggy. I'd have been like, well, he used to be a midfielder. Get him if you want. So we're getting there. Yeah. Can I just read you something out? Because I told my father-in-law this the other day and he didn't believe me. Do you want to? I'm going to read you Cal Toomey's description. You ready? Of Lockie Fogarty in his draft.
Yeah.
Highly agile, massive accumulator with speed and class and ferocious tackling. He's outperforming tackling machines and modern-day footballers like James Walpole and Hunter Clark. Cal Toomey gets paid to write that, just so you know. Actually, I can't talk. I said Lockie. No, I said fucking Liam Stock was like God. Hunter Clark to Lockie Fogarty is less.
Is this not something to persist with?
Oh,
like, what are the alternatives here in this position?
I don't know.
So alternative 1, persist.
Motlop?
Well, alternative 2, Motlop.
Okay, you know what? I hate to do it. Do you know who I would get playing the Fantasia role, who is more of a ball user in this role?
Ben
Camporelli.
Uh-huh. So, as in, keep Fantasia and then bring Ben Camporelli instead of Fogarty?
Yeah, if we're going to use the look, let's just look. I always look at it this way. Sometimes you can get angry by doing what you would do. And the facts are, Voss likes to play his way. He's quoted Ange 4 times. So he ain't fucking changing. Deal with it. This is what we're doing. So if that's the case, I would rather see Fantasia here, Camporelli in the Fantasia role, getting the ball a little bit more. But genuinely, I'll be honest, this role's a bit of a nothing role. I'd rather us destroy the careers of Fogarty and Fantasia than Jesse Motlop. Jesse Motlop we're investing in for the next 5-6 years. Fogarty, in reality, isn't part of our next flag. With all due respect, but he isn't a key pillar of that.
Fair. Just reminded me that we're still like 5 years away more.
No. None of that negative Nancy stuff here. Look. We take it a game by game. Game by game. week by week. This is where we are now. No longer are we thinking finals.
Well, it's Carl 9 now. Have you heard?
Do you know what I mean? Look, I'm just going game by game. Just going game by game. I ain't here for quotes. I ain't here to try and feel big about myself. My life's pretty good. We're just going week to week.
Exactly. So, having said that, 3.7 for Lockie Fogarty. Then we get to Zach Williams. Oh, I love when players come back into the team and I am reminded why we need them. And Zach does it often because he often has times out of the game.
I wish we could see. I wish some people would be honest on Twitter of who had pre-prepared a screenshot of him going to post had we have lost and gone, this is what's wrong with the club.
Yeah.
Thinking you're better than you are, genuinely. I reckon there's at least 8 drafts littered away on socials that you were ready to hang, draw, and quarter this gentleman. Genuinely, even in the comment section on my stream, bro, they were like, people had brought it up when it was a goal, Terry. When they got within a goal, they were like, fucking Zach Williams celebrating like an idiot.
So I want to unpack this a bit because, and the beauty of it is that we've seen it just happen with Ginnivan, right? So Ginnivan shows the ball to the opposition. It's a bit about Ginnivan, right? I didn't interpret this like that. I interpreted this like he's looking at the crowd. He's trying to get that crowd involved. He's pointing to the crowd. He's not making it about him. He's making it about connecting to the crowd. I'm telling you, we are living in a really toxic cycle of pessimism, and a lot of people have just got their anger on their glasses, and everything they're seeing is being perceived in the worst possible way. I thought it's exactly what we need.
I would say this is a fair statement, right? And it's a bold statement. I don't like making I said this claims because I think it's really counterproductive. But I think it's fair to say over the last 3 years, no one has had higher expectations or higher levels of acceptability than myself. I think I've been very hard on these boys of where I expect them to be and what I expect them to present me as a football club. I think we're in a real bad way at the minute that Zach Williams could cure cancer and some dickhead would be like, age is still there, don't it? Do you know what I mean? Like genuinely. So I feel like I get you're angry. Trust me. If you told me at the start of the year I'd be 2 games behind Essendon, I'd be languishing closer to 18th than I am fucking top 4. Mate, I probably would have debated, can I even be asked to fucking record and put all this effort in to working for free, just sharing my passion with like-minded people? I probably wouldn't have done. I'll be totally honest. I'd be like, I'd rather cuddle my wife, play more games of FIFA with me kids, do something exciting with my life. I don't need this. But the true facts are, fuck me. It's nothing like Ginny. Ginny is goading a player. He was trying to get the biscuit ass crowd up and about. And you know what? We crave personality. I see Sam Walsh do an interview and he's like, hi, I'm Samuel Peter Walsh. I really like playing football. I am a midfielder. Thank God someone's got a little bit of fucking passion, man. Like, well done. You kicked a goal and you got me up and about. I was enjoying it.
That was the first time I stood up. You know why else it was? Because we got an easy goal out the back. I was like, wow, we are very much known as a team that just works so hard to score, and opposition can, kick the ball off the ground and set up shots on goal. And so finally just one over the top.
Mate, great surname as well. We're probably related somewhere as well.
Yeah.
So fucking well done, Zach. Look, 3 words before the great Williams surname, and look what happens. You're a fucking star, getting me up and about. But you know what? Spot on, Caden. God forbid these fuckers have a bit of fun out there.
Yeah, God forbid. God forbid.
More of it. I'd like more of these dickheads to enjoy themselves a bit.
Yeah. Footy is fun.
You know what? Can I be really miserable, right? I'm going to be totally honest. I don't mind admitting this. I'm a 40-year-old man with 2 beautiful kids, and I'm the man of the house. And there's a certain expectation when you're a man. You've got to be strong. You know, the other night, right, my kids, my beautiful kids, Hull KR are a big part of my life, and we finally won. Them poor little bastards have got up twice in 5 years to watch Hull KR play in a grand final. The first time they got battered, they're one of the few teams in the history of the world to score 0 in a final. We got absolutely battered. We lost 60-0. And you know what? My kids went to bed that night, kissed me and said, I really enjoyed that, Dad. That was good. Can we do that next week? And I'm like, look, there's only a final once a year. That's the first one I've ever seen, son. So we might not see another one. And David, I never forget, he said, that's okay, though, because at least we can remember this one together. That was fun. And I was like, you know what? Good point. Then last year, we lost from an unlosable position. We absolutely fucked it up. And David, again, was like, that was cool, though, because you've never seen one until 2 years ago. Now we've seen 2, Daddy. That's really cool, isn't it? We've seen 2. And then this week, we actually won, right? So we had these celebrations. He's fallen asleep in my lap. I've carried him to bed. And you know what? I sat down with a cup of tea, debating going to bed, and I looked over at the empty chair and I burst into tears. I was inconsolable. I cried that loud. My wife woke up and she thought something was wrong because she's seen me cry 4 times in my life. And you know why I cried? I cried because I realized that the one thing I never got to experience with the most important man in my life was Hull KR win. And the reason Hull KR was so important to him was he was a Manchester man. So he's a foreigner to Yorkshire people like me. And he said the only time he ever felt accepted, he wasn't a dirty mank, was when Hull won the 1980 final. So you think how old my old man was. He was like 60 years old at that point in his life. He said that was the only time he felt he was accepted. In his home, he always felt like a foreigner because of the way he talked. And that broke my heart that I never got to share that moment with my pop. And I couldn't stop crying. And you know what? Something twigged in my mind when I see how some of you act and speak about the football club, myself included. Sometimes this is all we've got, man. Sometimes, you know what? The memories and the paths we walk down were walked down by people that we one day couldn't live without. And it made me think how I react when Carlton lose. I've seen Hull KR relegated multiple times. And my pop just always tell me one day it'll get better, son. But it was good fun, wasn't it? It was good fun. We gave up. We didn't give up. We had a fight till the end. And it just made me think, man, like, yeah, sport is meant to be fun. It's meant to be about creating memories. Sometimes it doesn't go your way, but it's how you react to it.
Yeah, it's a very, very important message and an important lesson. Yeah, that's why it's so important not to get stuck in the mud, so to speak, because fortunately or unfortunately, Hull KR will continue to play, and you may not have seen and experienced that memory with Pop, but you got to experience it with the kids, Yeah,
so, man, yeah. And I mean, we've seen some shit, and I look at it through the eyes of my children. Like the 2 losses that were devastating to me because I was like, I'm never going to see a win. But I'd already created memories that they will remember when I die. Should I die tomorrow, I'm pretty sure my kid will say that 60-point loss when we kicked no goals, getting up at 3 was the best time ever.
Some food for thought. 7.8 for Zachy Williams. Then we get to Will White, who was the sub in this game. Tough one to grade for obvious reasons. But did you see anything about this role that stood out to you?
Yeah, when he first came on, I saw him line up half-back flank. I was beginning to question everything, what I was feeling, what I've just told you guys emotionally then. I was beginning to really question it. But let's be honest. Look, not really much time to impact. One thing I will say, though, is I would say you don't get a stat for this, but some of the pressure and hard yakka in that final 10 minutes put enough pressure on to probably win us the game. I think he forced a few errors just by his presence. So hard to come in, hard to grade. Did what he had to do. Yeah, penis-shaped heat map, so that's a win.
I love that. 2.8 for young Willie. Sorry, I'm just a child. I'm just a child, whatever. Sorry, I'm not allowed to enjoy myself because we're not a top 4 team. Sorry.
You've just done a Zach Williams, mate.
Yeah, sorry. Don't smile. We're not top 4. We have standards, Pom.
Look, you can have standards, but you can still have fun while you fail to meet them standards.
Yeah, fucking hell. Fucking heaven forbid I try to laugh my way out of this disaster.
How dare you not try and sack someone?
Oh, gosh.
Talking about
Charlie
sacking
Curto.
someone. Fuck me. Oh, Charlie, I love you. If you're watching this, and I know that you occasionally watch to see what Pom says about you, what am I going to do with you, my beautiful Charles? What am I going to do with you? Oh, God. I did a video where I said, you've got to stop just giving me 1 quarter and then fucking about for free. And you literally did the opposite of what I asked you to do. All I asked was do something for 4. Yeah, this is a worry, because I don't know how to criticize him, because I feel like he is beyond criticism in a certain area, because he's kicked 2 goals and been our most dynamic forward. But then I also think this is the game, Charles. And at times it's really laconic. It's almost like he's letting... there was a couple of times that Laverde is trying to make love to him. He breaks free. And then he just watches Jackson Breyer jog out of D50. And I'm like, Charlie, you can chase him. Pretend. Just pretend. I'll take a run and miss him. Yeah. I listened this morning to Tweedledum and Tweedledee going, they won this week, so you might as well trade Harry. And I'm like, you fucking kidding me? You watch what Charlie did. Bro, serious. Yeah, look, this isn't the level, man. He's in the leadership group, so I expect a little bit more. Maybe I'm being harsh on him. Maybe I'm being way too harsh, but a man that's won 2 gold medals, no disrespect to Laverde, but that back line was battered and bruised. It was put together with sticky tape. He's got to be commanding. And, that's the thing that's killing me. It doesn't feel like, and I'm maybe so far off the mark in chat, say, Pom, stop being a dickhead. I feel like he doesn't want to dominate the game. It doesn't feel like he wants to.
Well, if you watch the press conference last week, it's a bit of a symbol for him. It's like he's pretty chill, pretty cool guy, pretty chill guy, and footy's not everything in life. And that's true. Then he'll lock in for a moment and nail you with the greatest explanation, clear, concise about what the issues are. And similar to his game, he'll just lock in for 10 minutes and you're like, oh my God, he could kick 12 one day if he wanted to. And then, the stat sheet will say 2 goals, 3, 2 goals, 2, I think it was, maybe 2 goals, 3, laid the 3 tackles, so a bit of defensive pressure there. And then it's like, are you chilling? Or do you want to be the greatest forward in the league? And if you don't, that's okay. Let us know. So we can plan. Either way, I still love you. All good. I don't know.
I've got to say, Pasquale, that might be the greatest moment ever. KO, when he had that behind from in front?
Yeah.
KO froze. And then Charlie's reaction came up on my screen, and because he was smiling and bumping Laverde, I assumed he kicked the goal. So I started singing the song. And then I'm like, why the fuck is Nick Martin taking a kick in? And I was like, you're telling me that's his reaction from missing? That's how bad it was. His reaction made me think he kicked a goal. That's not right.
Is he
I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. It's almost like it's a want. And I don't know if the want's there.
when he missed a couple of years of footy, it was pretty clear what the motivation was. Like, you don't take footy for granted. I've missed so much footy, and he just played with a desire all the time. And I don't know if it's fair to say, has complacency kicked in, or is he inspired? Is he so locked into what they're doing? Does he believe in what he's being coached to do? Like, is he acting out? Is he just being authentic to himself? Like, it's wild because, yeah, he's kicked 2 goals, he kicks 3 goals, and on the surface, it's not that bad. And it's really unreasonable to say you should be kicking 4 or 5 goals every week, because no one does.
This is an opinion. So again, chat, tell me, and Terry, tell me if I'm so far off the mark. But I sometimes feel, is he so big, like so famous at the football club, that he's beyond question from Voss? And that's just a speculation, but it feels like he gets to 2 or 3 goals and then checks out.
Yeah.
It feels like that's like the minimum requirement for Charlie, and then it's like done and dusted, I'm out. I'd love to know what Voss says to him, because this is a gentleman that's capable of kicking 5, 6, 7 on his day. And it feels like, it genuinely is like watching the football team. 1 quarter comes in. Oh, I've done enough now. 2 goals. Fucking job's a good one. It doesn't feel like there's the desire to go for again.
I don't know. I just don't know. I think early in the season, I thought, you know what? He sort of had a bit of an interrupted preseason. It made sense. He was sort of fading out a bit, and he probably came back a bit early. Harry was struggling, wasn't playing, and I thought he showed a bit of leadership to play when he maybe shouldn't have, or he was under some duress. But I think he's fully fit now, and I don't know. Maybe we're going to get to this back end of the year, and he's just going to explode, and he's going to use all these assignment. He's allocated time to do the assignment and wait until the last minute and just explode. But yeah,
just feels like, it just feels like he could do it, doesn't it?
He's not inspired. I don't think he's inspired for long enough. Does that make sense? Is that even?
Yeah, no, I agree. It genuinely feels like he's like, mentally he's content after 2 goals.
Yeah.
Like, because that first quarter, he was scrapping for everything. He looked on. And then that second goal went through. It was like he was kind of like, okay, 2 goals, happy days.
All right, guys, you're good.
First round.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough. 6 score involvements. So, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, like
5.5. Then we get to Mitch McGovern. Wow. This is a developing story, I would say.
Fuck, mate. This was back and forward. This was like a game of tennis. This guy was forward, then he was back, then he was forward. 2 concerns. So the first concern was in that first quarter when they kicked the first goal. Very quickly, Adam Sard went to the lockdown row. And within 2.8 seconds, Mitch McGovern was like, hi, I'm backman again. And that worried me a little bit. But you know what? Forward, I just want to say, you can tell he hasn't played forward for a long time.
Yeah.
But one thing I'll say that really turned me on, look at the score involvements. In that forward line, he reminded me of Will Hoskin-Elliott. Mm-hmm. And Will Hoskin-Elliott is like the worst, best footballer you've ever seen. Like, you watch him and you're like, God, he's dog shit. But he just seems to get that mark and get that ball in. I don't mind it. 2 goal assists, multiple
8 score involvements. I didn't realize he had that many.
Good marking as well. He was that mark outside of 60. That first quarter, I would say why we went at 92% was because of Mitch. We had a different point of attack. So I want to see for like 2-3 weeks. I genuinely, if we're going to see forward McGovern, I want it for 3 weeks, because it's obvious he hasn't played that role for a long time. But there was passages where he just reminded me of Adelaide McGovern.
What was your perception when they moved him down back? I was a bit taken aback by it. Can
I be harsh?
Yeah.
Weakness.
Yes.
I genuinely think that's what's wrong with Carlton at the minute. Without being harsh, I'm not genuinely that disheartened like most people, because I think that first quarter, when we were bold, we looked like a 10-goal better side. It looked like it could have been a destruction. But there's the weakness in Carlton. We're scared. We're not playing to win. We're playing not to lose. And straight away, Voss showed his hand. They were bold. They went with the handball. They went short. They invited the pressure. And they were battering Essendon. Essendon weren't in the same league as us. But as soon as they showed a bit of fight, Brad Scott got in their ears. Mitch McGovern, back pocket. Adam Sard locked down on Jade Gresham. Straight away we went, and then that ball movement went longer. There was no separation. Everyone looked cagey. I'd love to go to the club and just go, look, you know what? I promise I will never complain. You can lose by 100 if you play with dare and dash. I'd rather you lose and play with dare and dash than try and make it look better. And I feel that's what we're missing at the minute. I would have loved, even Chincotta's role. I think Petra's right. Voss would have voted it a 10 out of 10 because it did everything defensively. Where I would have loved it if they said to Chincotta, you know what, you've got a cap. 20 touches, Zach Merritt. He can get 20 touches, but you've got to get 20 touches as well. And for every touch over, you've got to double his touches. Like, make him play with a bit of dash. And because there was times, Chincotta, it scared me. He could have run on and left Zach Merritt for dead, but he stayed with him. So that's obviously coaching. Don't let Zach Merritt ever be free. But go for it. Overlap. Fuck Merritt. So, yeah, it worried me, Terry, because I felt like Mitch McGovern could have been what Charlie wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked what I saw early in the game from him forward. So, again, a couple of games coming up. See what they do. 5.4 for his rating. And then the final player was Hudson O'Keefe. Love the photo. Love the video with mum. Just, it actually gave me, like, I felt a little bit of something with
Can
this
I just
whole
say,
story.
his mum is so gorgeous, isn't she?
Yeah,
Such a gorgeous human being.
It's incredible. It really was. I think I needed it. I needed some love and some family and some like purity from Carlton.
Look, I have no parental units in my life, so she's looking to adopt an extra kid. Honestly, put my hand up here. I need a bit of mothership sometimes. But Hudson O'Keefe, let's talk about him. Shout out to Let Dog. I can guarantee Carlton win a flag soon because he said when this guy plays, Carlton are a serious Premiership flat, and he's back, baby. Buddy. You know what I loved about this role is it kind of validates my point, and I hate to back David King up, but I don't believe you need two key forwards. Problem is at the moment is our star key forward isn't playing 4 games, and Harry's in and out of the side with injury and whatnot. But this was the perfect second forward role. He worked them lines well. 5 contested marks on debut. 5 contested marks. Showed up his more experienced forward line with incredible body position and that hunger to play out in front, which some of our players are starting to forget. You can play in front of your man and back yourself to win it. And that's the exuberance of youth, isn't it? The fearlessness of, this is my first time, who cares? Gutted he didn't kick a goal, but I really liked his link-up way. And you know one thing I'm going to give him huge credit for, because I've never seen Harry do it and don't see Charlie do it. In fact, Levi Casbolt is the last man I saw do what he did. Fucking block someone get into the contest, right? You don't have to go to the contest. Like, you can just block a big fucker. Pick one. Like, you know everyone over 6'5" in the AFL. You can tell who's 6'5" because they all walk around going like this. Stop one of them fuckers getting to the contest. You know what? He blocked so many times. And I was like, yes, someone who gets it. Do the team thing.
Do you know what I love about him? And to like use a word that you've brought into my vocabulary, he's got a bit of tit in him.
Yeah, proper knobhead, isn't there? You can
tell.
Like
he just like throws you into the ground, rubs your face into the turf. Like, he's a tit.
Yeah, you can tell his mum has taken his side way too much, right? Because he's got the devious tit as well. You know, like I didn't do it.
Yeah, look at me. Yeah.
I don't know why he's crying. You better not fucking tell the umpire. Like, I love it. So, no, mate, honestly, really solid game. And I'm really hoping, I'd love it. And you know what? I've got a horrible feeling Harry O'Farrell got tin tack straight away. Got sacked straight away. I've got a horrible feeling Harry's going to train this week and we lose him. But I would love the club in these next 2 weeks to go, right, okay, next week you're on Sandy fucking Brock. The bro's only on a list because people think motorcar racing is a real sport. Wow, you turn corners. Ooh. Like, go out there, have a bit of fun. Next week, you've got North Melbourne. Charlie Comden's a Mickey Mouse defender. Have some fun. Let's see what you can do in 3 weeks. This next 3 weeks, not getting ahead of myself, see what they can do because you're never going to get easier games.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's have a mind for the future. I really like what Hudson did. And you know what? Part of me would love to, and I don't think the club will do it. And I'm not putting this out there as we should do it, but I would love Carlton to rest Charlie next week. Call it a rest. So he plays no VFL. But let Hudson have another go. Because I thought his ruck work as well. I thought his ruck work was pretty good as well. His second and third efforts in that ruck, he went up against a very experienced Peter Wright, and I thought he held his own. So,
well, you saw him do the technique that Pitto does, the way he just protects his space. So
yeah, very mighty cruiser.
Man, he's 20 years old.
Mate, very mighty. You know what? There's a bit of Matty Cruiser about him. So, like, I'm not specified before anyone says Pom said drop Kerner. No, I didn't. Rest Charlie Kerner. If Harry comes in, Harry's got to be fit for this run home. So, I'm happy for him to play. But I hope Hudson isn't the one who's dropped. Or drop Gov, like Dee says. But I wouldn't want one of these guys playing the third. Unless it's Charlie and he plays a third. But give him a couple of weeks. I was really impressed with what he did. I thought this, okay, I can see it. Good point.
Well, I think Voss was the same. He mentioned in his presser that, 6 weeks ago, he wasn't sure if it was up to AFL level. So something's obviously clicked in the last month or so. And you love to see it. Yeah. 5.5. Sorry, whose comment? That's why Harry and Charlie have 5,000 Facebook friends, because they never block anyone.
Legit.
That is the level of banter we are about here.
That's top 4 banter.
Okay, 5.5 for Hudson O'Keefe. Let's have a look at the team. What does this say? Bit of the story of the year, really.
Yeah, well, you can see here that it's just good. And then look again what we talked about last week, but we lost. Them start areas below where you want. Like, it's funny we're talking about our Smalls have got us out of trouble when the first 10 weeks we've been begging for someone who's decent, who can play small.
Yeah.
It's almost like the season, isn't it? Every rating, if you combine the best of every week, it's there. It's almost like one thing functions, and then the thing that's been functioning for 4 weeks fucking breaks.
Yep. True. It's
And
that.
I keep saying it. I think the cure is in the list. The cure is in the list. It's getting it all fucking out there on the same day.
Fascinating. Wow, Jesse, it's good to see you have some green next to your name, young man.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's weird. Like, it's genuinely like, it's hard to put your finger, but I think that's what is so frustrating at the minute, isn't it? Like, like all these players that are shit this week have been brilliant in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, Wiedering being almost a non-factor by his own standards. That usually we usually talk about him as the most valuable player, and when he's not there, if he's not there, or when he doesn't play well, it's hard to see us winning. So, I mean, Silvani and Haynes really helped steady that back line up while Wiedering struggled. But yeah, that forward line it's the story of the year.
Yeah, and like, I feel like we've been saying it for 8 years. Fuck it, we'll say it one more time. Hopefully it'll come together next week.
Yeah, hopefully, but one day it'll just click and you'll just know, I remember being told by like all sorts of people, whether they were Carlton supporters who had seen Five Flags or Richmond fans, like, don't worry, you'll know. When it clicks, you'll know. It'll just happen.
You've got better friends than mine, because my mates now went from saying that to say, nah, Pom, it's fucking cooked, mate. Like they're just giving it to me. They're like, nah, it's fucked, bro. Like, honestly, sorry, mate, it's fucked.
All right, let's take a look at some Bombers and their roles and why we are highlighting them, and maybe learn a thing or two. Matt Guelphy, why did you highlight Guelphy?
So what I've done this week is I've not taken players that I necessarily think are the best. I wanted to give you some examples of why our role was bad, theirs was good. So Matt Guelphy, he had an incredible job. He was on Nick Haynes and Matt Carroll in that intercept reversal role. And I want to see what the difference is. You can see there the tag effectiveness, just slightly below AFL average. Nick Haynes did find himself some space and some time. But look, goal assist, double the AFL norm, more tackles inside 50, still found an avenue to goal, still got involved in the score involvement, still had some offensive threat, although he had to do something, right? He had a job at hand, which I think he did incredibly well in the second quarter, I might add. Could have been higher, but just shows you the difference there between Cincotta and Guelphy. Cincotta, blanketed better, didn't do anything, though, outside of blanketing. Guelphy did enough to make out and go quicker, but then also impacted on the other end. And I'd take that. I'd take a 70% tag with 30% output versus 100% tag.
So 6.6 there. That makes sense. Nick Martin, what were you looking for here and what were you comparing here?
Yeah, so the fascinating thing, every week you will find a guy that rotates across halfback because they are a pain in the tit for Carlton. Not his usual dynamic self, but you can see here really got a lot of intercept possessions, was probably the biggest threat Carlton had when we went a little bit shorter. We started to see this guy was getting in the way and he did incredibly well, got them going, score launches, score involvement's really strong. So he played behind the ball. I thought he was a big part of why they turned the game round in the middle portions of the game. He played Carlton's strength against them.
Interesting. 7.4. And then Jai Caldwell. What did you see here?
I love Jai Caldwell.
Same.
This is a guy that fucking slaps his nana for looking at him the wrong way. He tells his granddad to mow the lawn and shut up. And I admire a man. Who is willing to do anything for a win. But you can see here, look, this is the George Hewitt role for them. You can see almost identical heat map, reversed, real strong pressure acts, real strong tackler. He was a pain in the butt for the Blues, really stopped the ball getting out. And a big part of the first quarter to the third quarter was Jai Caldwell's shift. He went more behind the ball, and his job was literally to stop that handball receive. And that's why Fogarty started to get it, because Caldwell manned up, took the harder job on Adam Chera, and stopped Chera getting that easy, uncontested ball. And I thought Caldwell was remarkable. Like, I think he's a very... Everyone's sucking off Finn Callaghan because he wears orange. Any idiot can play midfield in orange. I could do it. I'd be a superstar. Doing it for Essendon, who are a bit low ebb, that's a bit harder. I think he's playing incredible football at the minute. Great game for him. second best rated player on the ground by TPI.
There you go. Behind TDK.
Oh, you've ruined the surprise for the next two slides.
Oh.
You've ruined it, Terry. Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Okay, well, the main riser. The guy who had the biggest rise from his last score, Jesse Motlop.
Tell you what, he's gone from 1.8 to feeling vertigo at 8, but not great.
He's come from a long way back, Jesse. I'll tell you what.
Who would have thought playing the player where you drafted them would work? I mean, revolutionary.
Mate, like, there's a thesis to be written on this exact topic.
You know, a good mate of mine, I won't reveal his name because you all know him, but he's been with me for a long time. He complained about playing people out of position. He suggested Ben Camporelli to me at halfback this morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, you just don't fucking watch the content anymore, do you? We'll play him in a position he hasn't actually played. Lucas has, but Ben now, halfback flank, great. It's just fucking, let's go back to what I'm getting pissed off about.
Yeah. The player of the game. Way! Hey, Santa Claus.
Thomas De Koning. You know what? Really good game. Really good. And you know what? I would say, you know, it proved, people were asking me last week, is he distracted by contract talk? And I was like, stop giving him an out. How hard is it? Someone telling you they're going to give you 1.7 million for free. Yeah, but that's really stressful. Fuck me. I'd love that as my biggest problem in my life. Someone's going to double my salary. Oh no, how will he sleep at night? Oh,
how can I go out and play football?
Yeah, oh no, poor Thomas getting double the pay. Oh mate, how do you survive? I thought brilliant, and it was good to see. Whether he stays or not, I really don't care. I couldn't give a shit. But it is nice to see him. I said he deserves, if he goes, he owes us 10 weeks. Long may it continue. That was fantastic from Tom.
Question, right? If he's staying, when do you think is the best time to announce it to try and maximize the vibes of it? Or do you not think it's a vibe booster?
July. Carlton always announce a big contract by July. So it's either JSOS or him.
So before Collingwood on the 4th of July?
Hey, you've been here before, Terry. It's the Wednesday. TDK bobblehead, he's re-signed, baby. Fuck sauce. Yeah. I can see it, actually. I can see Monday show we're doing it, and you're like, oh, Pam, just got to show you something, and it's a TDK bobblehead.
Oh, no. We're all going to have, you know, like in the basketball, sometimes they put like certain, like Anderson Varejao had the afros in the crowd. Like we're going to go, or like Tristan Sherry, they had like lids on in the crowd.
Yeah.
Like we're all going to go with like headband and like blonde wigs. Oh,
mate, it'll be. I reckon mid-July is the time that though, because that's usually the time when you know what the season's going to look like as well. So they need a little bit of a vibe, don't they?
And then back on top, Jack Silvani, the Horizon Finance 1%er award.
Yeah, he decided to take a couple of weeks off, let the other guys try and catch up, but Jack's like, nah, this is my award, so thank you for coming. Again, another performance where he was the most 1%ers on the ground as well. Workhorse.
If you're Carlton, what would you offer him in terms of salary and length of contract?
You know what? I'm quite harsh with JSOS because I feel like that there's an element you can sell JSOS that the surname and him staying at Carlton does massive amounts for his brand long term. So I'm not a big fan of selling this because I think it's stupid. When people say TDK, oh, I'd sell him on the future. Who gives a fuck? De Koning, no one cares. But Silvani, it is. It's a lineage name. It's worth probably billions in revenue for him. I would probably offer him about 500 max.
How many years?
How old is he now? What, 27? So he'll be 28 next year. I think I'd be happy for a 3-year deal with a player option for 4.
So I was thinking 2-year deal with the trigger for 3. But yeah, same, 3-4. Get the players to 30 and then see what happens from there.
Like, yeah, like I think, and especially if Mitch McGovern's off the list, like if you can say to him, you are the second most expensive defender on our list, I think that's fair. I think that's a good way to sell it to him.
Also, we'll pay for Charlie's school fees when he, goes to school and all of that.
Yeah, and you know what else I'd do? Call me controversial. Leadership group.
100%. 100. We need it.
100%.
We need it.
Like, I'm a firm believer you've got to have a guy that milks his talent on the leadership group. That guy that shouldn't be as good as he is, but he somehow is because he works his tits off. I'd love to see next year, this is all due respect to Charlie and co, I would love to see Hewitt and JSOS added to that leadership group in some capacity, because I think they are the guys that stand up week on week, win, lose or draw. And I think that they deserve the recognition. I don't think they need it, but I think they deserve the recognition in name that I'm the real deal.
I feel better than what I did at the start of this show.
Yeah. And look, I hope everyone knows that the vibes aren't Pom saying we're winning a flag, life's good, 17. But like, look, let's just take it a week at the time. Do I think it's going to be a flag season? Probably not. But what's the point of worrying about September when we've got a job to do now? So let's just get over it. Let's hope next week they watch this tape and go, we're a fucking bad football side for 3 quarters. We are completely Mickey Mouse.
They've got to win. I mean, a loss in any of the next couple it spells danger in a number of ways, and just a bad experience for everyone. Well,
since you're on the phone today, I actually think there is more pressure on this Eagles game than there is the Essendon game. Like no offense to the Eagles, but what they put up this week was some of the funniest shit I've seen on grass.
Yeah.
Like if they lose that, oh my God. So the pressure suddenly ramps up again for the Blues, because if that's losable, I think they are literally 1 loss in the next 5 weeks from Implosionville. And that, I'm not giving the players an out, but that will be a little bit of an element. Most of these players have been there when it turns. And it's no surprise to me the older players who have been there absolutely shit themselves when the crowd went quiet in the 3rd quarter. Cripps was having flashbacks to being spat on. You know what I mean? Like, you could see it. Like it felt like, like when you ever, like if you put fireworks off at a Vietnam War reunion, that's what it looked like. Everyone was back there. Everyone was back in Saigon.
1 week at a time. This has been the Rating Show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. At 8:30, the Almost Blues Brothers will be on. It'll just be Joe. The Blue Abroad show will be on tomorrow night at 6 p.m. It's a bit crowded, so we gave you some space. Thanks, Pom. Thanks, everybody.
Are we having the week off tomorrow then with True Footy?
No. I'll just do it. I'll just do the BA show before Footy Abroad.
Look at you, fucking workhorse.
What? Man can work,
Fucking work. No, Charlie Kerno from UA.
No. If I need to adjust, I'll just pick up a shift.
Well played, mate.
All right, guys. Love you all. Go Blues.
Go Blues.